Welcome back, everyone, and welcome, Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris, and I'm drinking a bit of tea out of my Little Mermaid cup here
So
today.
metal, so metal.
I'm super metal. Yeah, so metal, so goth.
So, yeah, welcome, welcome, welcome. So good to see you, and thank you for accepting my invitation. Would you mind telling the
Yes,
people
thank you for
who.
asking.
You're welcome. Would you mind telling the people who don't know you a little bit about who you are and stuff?
Um,
Just a
yeah,
quick rundown.
I'm Chris, and I have two cats, and my hobbies are reading, writing, and no, I'm singing in a band called Lord of the Lost, and yeah, we are not well known in Denmark. So it's so funny because it's our neighbor country. But
Yeah,
when we go to Denmark, like no one knows us and no one's really showing up at the concerts. So in Germany, it's way different. So yeah, so if some Danish people are watching, you might not know me. And yeah, we're taking part in the German preliminary decision for Eurovision in, oh God, it's in 5 days. Fuck.
yeah. You excited?
And so, uh, I'm not sure if excited is the right word for it. I'm also excited. I'm also pretty nervous. Yeah, I'm a little like under shock still because it's like I can't really wrap my head around singing live on TV in front of 6, 7, 8 million people watching with the song where I'm starting with my voice only,
Yeah.
like super naked in that sense. So yeah,
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
excited.
I can totally understand that. But yeah, let me just dive straight into the questions then. Since we're already talking about Eurovision, maybe we should start there. Also, quick shout out in the chat. Hi, Matteo, I see you. Sure, you're Danish. Um, let's
Could
see.
you one question in your Zoom in the audio settings? Could you reduce the noise reduction a little because your voice is a little remixed?
I can
Get the things.
I can try. Hang on.
Yeah, can you hear me fine? Is that good?
Yeah,
Everything's
you're a
fine?
little bit low, but I can
Okay,
hear you.
yeah, I can make myself louder. Is it better
Let's.
now?
I
I
think it's
can
better. Yeah, sound is
can
good.
make the microphone a little closer to me. So then I think there's some noise reduction setting, whatever. I mean it works, but sometimes I just get half of the words.
Ah, let's see. Uh, Yeah, I mean, everything is tuned as much as I can tune it on my end.
Okay, cool. Yeah, then it is what it is. Easy, no problem.
Excellent. So, where were we? Ah, yes, Eurovision. That's where we were gonna
Hmm.
start. Um, so, or actually, let's just dial it back just a little bit before
Hmm.
Eurovision, because Blood and Glitter, I mean, that album in its entirety was a complete surprise. Like, you dropped it out of nowhere.
It wasn't a surprise to everyone, and
No.
let me tell you a story, uh, which I'm not telling it to you, I'm telling it to everyone else watching because you already know it. Because Sarah was the first person who found out and told me that the release of Blood and Glitter has been leaked like weeks before. The problem with digital distribution nowadays is that the label and the distribution gives the album out to, yeah, to all, all the streaming services, the download services, the shops, whatsoever. But there's always like a so-called embargo on a date where things are being released. And there's always like that one person that fucks it up. And that one person at some digital distribution working for the Scandinavian market did not really check like, hey, those news must not be spread before December 24th. So what you did, I don't know, maybe you can tell later how you found it, but you somehow found like weeks before the album cover, the title, whatever. And so I called our label like, hey, someone's really fucking it up here. What's happening? And slowly they were able to take down these things. But you know, the internet, once things are in the internet, they kind of stay there. So then it were like more and more leaks over the weeks, and it came kind of, yeah, it became kind of interesting because people were like, oh, is that just a rumor? Is that fake? So everyone was like, wow, something's happening there. So it was kind of funny in the end. But first, I was really like, oh no, do we want to make a surprise release? So you told me, and I asked you not to tell people. You kept your mouth shut, and so we owe you big time for helping us here, and yeah, keeping quiet about it.
I
How
mean,
did
of
you actually?
course.
Did you actually find it?
Well, it was because I was making a wish list for Christmas for my mom, and she
Hmm.
wanted to know if there were any Danish distributors of your music in case she wanted to buy me a CD. So I went
Nice.
digging, and then on one of these sites, I saw something called Blood and Glitter, and I was like, this sounds interesting. I'm not sure
Okay.
if it's something new, so I thought I better contact Chris.
Okay. So then thanks to your mom. Yeah, that's funny.
Oh yes, quite. And I'm glad that, even though things got leaked, it didn't get any worse than
Yeah, no, it
that.
was almost good, but I think that was actually not your question. So what was your question actually? I'm sorry,
No
I
worries. I
didn't
mean,
answer.
you dropped it with like zero notice, zero advertising. I mean, aside from rumors, of course, but rumors are rumors.
Yeah.
Um, were you more nervous than usual about the reception? Because let's face it, it's a very old school way of doing it.
No, I was like, I'm never really nervous about the reception because I think, um, like in general, like the core of the fans are being used to, yeah, being surprised by what we do. So I think like if you know Law of Lost for more than just one record, you're not surprised if you when you're getting surprised because you know a new record is something new, and we're always trying to do new things and stuff. So so I wasn't like nervous in general about it. We were more excited about it because we knew that people would love that. Because why would someone hate not waiting for an album? You know,
Yeah.
you drop an album on like you drop a release date on Christmas and tell people the album's gonna be out 6 days later. Why would anyone say, no, why? I mean, I want to wait 4 or 5, 6 months, and I want to get single by single,
Yeah.
and like, you know, why would anyone hate that? So no, we were not nervous at all. The only concern that we had were like, are people maybe pissed that they don't get vinyl right away and like many special editions all at the same time? But actually, in our experience, like from the last releases, some people were like, why are you releasing so many editions all at the same time? I cannot even choose. So, now we're releasing everything bit by bit. Vinyl is coming in 5 days, and then there will be a so-called earbook in summer and the cassette in fall. So I think people are super fine in with that old school way even here because like a couple of years back it was pretty normal that bands would release different versions of the record like on different devices, not devices, like vinyl, CD, whatever.
Yeah.
They
Different
would release
media.
it at different media, yeah, would release it at different times. So no one really complained, aside from the usual complaints like why why do you sound like that now? I don't like it. I hate you. All these things. But that happens whatever you do. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely. I mean, then shortly after the release, it was like the race for the German charts, and you managed to hit first place once again, congratulations on that.
Thanks.
Full
No, no, no,
deserved.
no, not we managed that because we didn't do anything about it. You guys managed it because this is something the band should never forget. Like, of course, the band gets the number one and it gets the award and blah 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 blah. But in the end, what can we do? Of course, we can buy our record like several times, but we can't buy it like 10,000 times. People would recognize that, and it would be a fraud. Those things do not work anymore. So yeah, we didn't do it. You did that. So
I mean, it must have been quite wild for you to see how people were just banding together and helping out, whether it be like ordering for their friends in Germany or German fans ordering. It was, at least it was quite interesting for me to see because it showed how much of a community there is around your band, and I think personally that's absolutely amazing.
yeah, it was crazy because like I, actually, when you just released a record, you wouldn't just go on holiday. You wait for 1 week or 10 days until this first week is over because you have a lot of marketing and promotion and all these interviews because you want to have like a high position in the charts. And this time we said, hey, with 6 days of pre-order, we are not going to hit the charts or maybe top 20 or not even top 20, maybe top 40. So fuck it, I'm just go on holiday. So exactly 2 days after the release, I went on holiday and actually I planned to not take a laptop and to switch off my phone entirely. So, but I didn't do it. And then we received the message like 2 days before the chart week was over, like, hey, you guys are fighting for number one with another band. And I was like, bro, what? So, and yeah, so that was crazy. It was really unexpected, really. Yeah.
I can imagine. I think you described it yourself somewhere that it was like running a marathon and seeing the end line. And if you see the end line, wouldn't you try to push towards it and see if you could make it first place?
Yes, yes, because we said from the very beginning, hey, come on, fuck the charts. It's not about that. And when we were like 2 days before the chart week was over, realizing we were fighting for number one, when we said, hey, come on, people, let's make it to number one, some people were pissed, like, hey, you're not being true to the words that you say yourself. So
Yeah,
you said fuck the charts. But I think now, I hope everyone understands it's a different thing. When you think that you don't have a chance at all, then of course you, in a very relaxed way, you say, come on, fuck it. But if you find yourself without expecting that you can actually make it to number one, so you're like that close to the end line, to the finish, of course you start fighting.
yeah,
So it's the same with Eurovision now. There's like people couldn't vote during the last weeks, but there were like many polls, national, international, where people could, yeah, where we could actually see if we are doing good in the competition
yeah.
or not. And we seem to be liked by many people. So in lots of these polls, we're pretty much up there on many of them, even first place. So it's the same thing now. When we started Eurovision, we went there, we said like, it doesn't matter how far we get. Let's just have fun. I still think that, but now being so high up there, of course, something in me tells me, okay, let's see if we actually can win.
Yeah, yeah.
Although I don't like the word winning because it means the other ones are losing, so I don't want to see it that way. But so let's see if we can actually get further, if
Yeah.
we can make it to the final. So yeah.
I mean, I've I've not seen any other band I can recall in correlation to Eurovision who has had such a tight grip around the whole social media thing. And it's very clear that you are able to put yourself out there and do the best to showcase yourself.
Oh yeah,
Um,
we're doing so much at the moment that I'm like, I really feel like we're annoying people like too much. And I think some are annoyed. So the content we are releasing, we're trying to keep it entertaining
Yeah.
and informative and diverse and like funny. Because if we would post the same thing twice a day, like vote for us with always the same flyer, I'd have a bad conscience with annoying people. But the things we post all day, it's so much and so many different things. So
Hmm.
I hope uh, people are not too annoyed because they, of course, we make promotion for
Yeah.
Eurovision and tell them to vote. But on the same time, we give them stuff they might enjoy. So I don't feel too bad about it. So,
Of course. Um,
yeah.
how was it? Had you previously thought about going to Eurovision with Lord of the
Yeah.
Lost? Because you were a part of one of the preliminaries last year, weren't you? Like involved with the band, one of the bands that participated last year.
Yeah, well, last year was just I was just helping out on this one artist because this one song was written and produced in my studio.
Hmm.
So and I did a little, I helped them a little, and they asked me to be on stage and so on. But yeah, we took part. We tried to go on Eurovision for I don't know 5 years or 6 years, and yeah, no one was really interested, or they had a different concept. Like last year, they only wanted to have radio compatible stuff, and last year we were so close to making it to the preliminary show, so the one which we're taking part in this year,
Hmm.
but they changed the concept like shortly before and
Ah.
said no, they only want to have like radio compatible pop artists, so we didn't make it. But I have never seen any sense in making this public. So, because then, people only start being negative. It's always just a shitstorm. If you're like, hey, we want to take part in Eurovision, and but they said we're not radio enough, blah blah blah. And then people go like, oh fuck them. So I don't like that. So we didn't want to fuel any negative energy. So we just said like, okay, we don't fit in this year's concept.
Hmm.
Okay, why not? Then we try again next year. So that's what we did. We didn't tell anyone that
Yeah.
we haven't been chosen. We just tried again. So
There's
and
there,
now they
there's a
wanted us.
ton of people in the chat who are very curious to hear what song you tried with last year.
We tried with one last song.
Mm.
Yeah, because that song was already written.
Hmm.
It was already like half produced. We started writing Blood and Glitter in July 2021. The first song written was Blood and Glitter itself. We decided to do the whole Blood and Glitter concept on the evening of the video shoot for Viva Vendetta in a hotel room in Berlin. So
Nice.
I told the guys about the concept,
Hmm.
and then couple days later, I met with Rupert from Icebrecher, and we wrote Blood and Glitter, like the musical base for it. And then we kept on writing songs, and then like in the end, like I think October, November 2021, um, there was this Eurovision application thing.
Hmm.
It was like, okay, let's try it. And I just had written one last song. And I thought that song would be super strong for Eurovision, maybe too long, but you can make a shorter version.
Hmm.
And so yeah, so we sent them the demo of the song. And so it wasn't final, the production wasn't final, of course. We haven't really been to the studio yet, but there was a demo. Yeah, and they liked it a lot, but it didn't make it. So yeah, so we tried again with Blood and Glitter.
That actually also answered my next question, which was why Blood and Glitter as opposed to something like One Last Song, which for me would also have been like a perfect contender. But you just answered that for me.
No, the reason why finally we chose Blood and Glitter was like we sent our application for this year's Eurovision very late.
Mm.
So we were chosen like very late, and it was like 5 to 12. And before, they announced us on January 27th.
Yeah.
And if you want to have a song which could actually like reach people beforehand, before the show starts, you want to have a real good music video for the song. And because everything was on such short terms. We wouldn't have the time to produce, yeah, high quality, good music video for one last song.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought like, hey, why not Blood and Glitter? Also, the song itself seemed to be fitting a lot. I mean, many people misunderstand the term blood and think it's about something negative, but
Mm-hmm.
it's about the elixir of life, about
Yeah, it's
us,
it's
you know,
passion and
our,
everything.
yeah. So it's not about something brutal
Mm-hmm.
or like it's not about glorifying violence, not at all. Um, so we decided for Blood and Glitter in the end because the whole imagery of the video fit, and we didn't have the time to actually shoot a good video until January 27th
Mm-hmm.
for the other song.
Excuse the background noise. My roommates are having guests.
Oh, good.
Let's see. What was the next question? Yeah, like your reaction when you heard you were in the preliminaries. I assume you were quite pleased because you came in so you were like, oh, this is gonna be last minute, but we're gonna see how it goes and so on and so forth. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not everyone
What's the
who
question?
gets selected, so.
No, of course not. I mean, you never count on it. So, but like, um, a music manager, which I'm closely working with on many other projects in my studio, he was the one who actually said, "Hey, come on, let's try again this year. The song is great, the video is great. Just try it." I was like, "Yeah." I was already like resignating on it. Like, yeah, they won't choose us anyway, but why not? So he filled out the application for us.
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, just do it, fuck it. and,
Fuck it, let's
and
try.
then yeah, and then right away, like 10 minutes later, they called him and said like, yeah, we are interested. Of course, they didn't say yes finally. They did that in a phone call we had in January, which is actually online. You can see our first reaction somewhere.
Yeah.
But they were like interested right away, like, oh yeah, I think they said this year this might really be it, and this year we changed the concept to more musical diversity, so let's try it. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Like during this whole run up, how has the general populace received you? Like, has it been positive? Has it been negative? Has it been mixed?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I can understand German by reading it, and also
Yeah.
somewhat when it's spoken to me, but I don't always understand all the finer details. But I've seen there's been a lot of discussions.
Yeah. It has been positive, it has been negative, it has been mixed.
Hmm. So a bit of
all,
everything, really.
all of it, and like on all sides, also like on the people that didn't know us
Hmm.
before, and about like many things, some say no, they look too gay for me. The others like no, they are not like what they don't look gay enough for me. Like blah blah, whatever. It's always these kind of things, and also within some fans, because some fans were like, hey, you're an alternative band, you're metal, rock, gothic, whatever. Why do you do that? So that's treason to do something like that.
Mm.
The same old
Yeah,
things.
the whole elitism and gatekeeping, which I
Yeah,
personally
gatekeeping,
think is
also
like.
like discussions about mainstream and like commercial music and
Hmm.
all these things I'm tired of discussing them. So, you know, whatever. That just happens, and I'm super fine if fans or not fans, I don't know, say they don't like us doing that. If things are being commented in a respectful manner, I can live with every kind of comment. As soon as it starts getting disrespectful for whatever reason, then we have a problem, and then I just might not talk to you anymore.
Hmm.
So, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, you're not the. It's not like you're the first dark rock or alternative band going for Eurovision. I mean, there's several bands from Finland and stuff that has participated in the past.
Yeah, people. It's as I said, it's totally okay for me if some people don't like it.
Hmm.
Um, what I don't really understand is like being afraid of that the whole thing might change us. So I'm gonna be like an asshole tomorrow and not, like think I'm a big rock star or whatever. You know, I'm doing all of this for such a long time. I've started playing in bands when I was 17. I
Hmm.
started like really doing this professionally with my first bands out there when I was 22 or 3 or 20 or I don't know. I'm 43 now. So this overnight success, it does not spoil me. I have
Yeah.
the way this band has grown over the years, bit by bit. It was such a hard road. I really doubt that it's gonna fuck me up mentally. You
Hmm.
know, I don't know what should happen that I'm like losing myself in it. It sounds, they actually always say this in a negative way, but I'm saying that in a positive way now. I'm too old for this. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
So
you've been in this business for too long. That's also why
yes,
I couldn't
so
help but laugh a little when I saw you make that post about so-called overnight success,
yeah,
because I
yeah.
was like, yeah, it's not like he's new to this, you know.
No, no.
And I
So
mean, I, as a fan who has followed you pretty much from the beginning, I think I started listening to you back in 2010. Yeah, so pretty much
hmm
from the beginning.
yeah.
I'm so impressed to see how much you've grown, and also quite personally quite proud for you, that you made it this far, and
Thanks.
that you're finally, at least from my perspective, getting the success you're deserving. Because damn, you work hard for everything. You're one of the
Can you
most.
sorry, can you remember, maybe I've asked you that before, but can you remember how you found us?
Yeah, it was one of it was a friend I don't have any contact with anymore. He had apparently seen the video for Sex on Legs on YouTube, and he was
Mhm.
like, "Hey, Sarah, I think you'll like these guys."
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh, these guys sound cool. I'm gonna go follow them."
Oh, that's by the way, that's another very funny discussion that
Hmm.
people just had. You know, recently we just shot this music video in Switzerland with like 5 girls
Hmm.
displaying us. The video's coming out on May 5th, and all these girls, you know, they look killer and real cool and blah blah blah. And then, of course, before the video came out, the discussion already started, like sexualization in music and using girls for music videos. And we've been such a deep band with only like mythological topics and blah blah blah. And now we're starting to do that. Look at Sex on Legs, you
Hmm.
know, which came out in 2011, I think, or 10, I don't know, 11. There was 11. Um, so we have done party songs before. We have had girls in videos before,
Yeah.
and yeah, we have never forced any girls to take part in our music videos.
Hmm.
So people relax. Let's have some fun, please. It's not all about Judas and philosophy, and that's one of that's the one side. We love that. Yeah, the, theology, mythology, all these kind of things.
Hmm.
And there's a very dark side and serious side to Lord of Lost, but also sometimes we just make songs that are fun. So
Yeah, and
also music videos. So.
I mean, there should be room for both. It doesn't have to be all doom and
Yeah, it
gloom.
is. Yeah, yeah. But you know,
And like,
you always piss people off with whatever you do,
yeah,
and yeah,
you can't
it's
please everyone, as they say.
no,
Um,
no.
which, speaking of which, I guess you already kind of answered this question, but your stance on musical elitism, like in general, but especially in the metal scene, because I see so many people who are like, oh, but blah 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 can't be metal. And I'm like, why don't you just admit that having guilty pleasures might be okay? Um,
What's the question?
the question is like, what is your stance on
Ah,
elitism? And yeah, have you had to deal with that a lot, like before, or is it
yeah.
has it
You know
increased?
that the one thing that I don't really get is like all this elitism and being part of a scene or part of a community. Um, always comes with rules and dogmas and all these kind of things, but still all these subcultural groups are screaming, we want to be accepted and be open, be tolerant. You're not being tolerant. I'm looking different. Why aren't you tolerant?
Mm-hmm.
And then these groups, in so many cases, turn out to be like the least tolerant. So, towards everything else, towards other subcultural groups and towards the mainstream, whatever that means. So, my whole life, I always tried to not be too tightly knit to any of these kind of scenes
Mm-hmm.
because, I always loved being a part of the gothic scene sometimes, not every day. I like to be with the metalheads. I like to be with my skater and hip hop friends that just listen to rap music. I like to go windsurfing and listen to,
Yeah.
what they listen to on the beach all day and all these things. It's all me. And but I always felt like being on vacation in some kind of scene, if that makes me a trader, then I'm happy to be a trader because like I identify like I never identified with one of these things enough to like to give my life to it and deny all the other parts of myself. I can't do that. I'm different every day and I still am.
Mm-hmm.
Like one day I might wake up and I'm like, today I want to wear black clothes and I'm wearing eyeliner before I go to the supermarket and buy things because I feel like that's the way it should be. Today I feel like I'm wearing this red thing and no makeup at all and show myself in a public interview like that. And that's how I feel today.
Mm-hmm.
And if that makes me not part of like the goth scene enough to be like accepted, I'm okay with that. And for many years I felt like if I'm not trying to fit in enough, maybe I'm missing out something. I might be not accepted enough. And it reminded me of the days like in school back then in school,
Mm-hmm.
like in the breaks between the lessons when you're on the schoolyard and playing with other kids. I could never stay with one group because I had friends in this group, I had friends in this group. I was part of the nerds, I was part of the cool kids sometimes. I was like hanging out with girls most of the times,
Mm-hmm.
and they all didn't really talk to each other, and I felt like connected to all of them. So I was always like changing between all of them because I liked it. And this is sometimes I feel like it's still me,
Yeah.
and it's also silly. Everything is so silly. And what I love most when we're playing concerts and we see so many people from different scenes and subcultures,
Yeah.
and maybe not all of them like each other, but I feel like many of the people that come there, I go there with an open heart and an open mind and embrace this diversity and embrace being part of something which is bigger than just this is us. We're like one scene and everyone else sucks,
Mm-hmm. I mean,
That's I think that's better.
as a Twitch DJ, my experience is that sometimes people will look at me and not expect all of the stuff I'm playing, and people who are regulars here on my channel would confirm that sometimes I've thrown in some quite interesting curveballs here and there. Like, all of a sudden I can be like, you know what, let's go into the 80s or into the 90s. There were one point last year where I did the Macarena live on stream, which was like the funniest thing
That's good.
ever. Um, and yeah, if people don't vibe with that, they can go somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean that's a nice thing. You can go to so many places. So before like trying to shit in your own nest, maybe just have fun somewhere else and then come back if you like.
Yeah,
So all good. All good.
and yeah, I, I said it before, like the whole community around your band is just amazing because I've attended quite a few of your shows by now, both in Denmark and also in Germany, and it's so fun to see how many kinds of people show up, just as you
Yeah.
mentioned before. Um, so yeah, that's just pure amazement. Um, Also, just gonna plug this real quick. People, you can all, if you're in Germany, you can already help out Lord of the Lost by going and voting for them for Eurovision if you want to. maybe
Yeah,
see
that's true.
them in Liverpool. My moderators will go and plug the link. Um, let's see. What was my next question? What has been the best thing so far about Blood and Glitter, like the whole process of it all?
You mean the album or the song?
The album.
I think what I like most about it is like, for me, it really feels like a revival of things that I've already done when I was 24, 25. I had this glam rock band back then,
Mm-hmm.
and then I founded I founded Lord of Lost, and because I couldn't have so many bands at the same time, I had to quit being part of that glam rock band, and which was fine for the first years. But then started to miss certain kind of things. So you could really see with Lord of Lost, like how I was evolving with like putting more glitter into it and
Yes.
more 80s here and there. And I really felt like at some point I really want to go extreme on the whole glam rock thing,
Mm-hmm.
at least visually, because like music wise, glam rock is a genre which just existed for like 3 years or something in the early 70s. So our album does not sound like glam rock, but it's like the visuals are very much glam rock. So I really, for me, it was really relieving doing that, but it is not the way I would like, even if Blood and Glitter turns out to be our most successful record so far, which already is the case, I think. Um, I would not stick to that. Of course, like the our label would say, "Hey, do the same thing now." It's like that's your thing. Like nothing has been more successful. And I'm like, no, no.
Yeah, I
We,
mean,
I want to try something else, and we already have a concept for our next real record. We will have a little thing in between, which is coming out at the end of this year, and we will
ooh.
have like a new real album in like February 2025, maybe January,
Mm-hmm.
and we already have the concept, and it's gonna be very dark because we love the contrast. This is what we need.
Yeah.
So, and of course, then I already hear the haters like, haha, look, the gold and red glam rock thing didn't work out, so they're going back to being goth. I'm like, yeah. So yeah.
Kind of like the
So
reverse version of It's Just a Phase, honey.
yeah. Totally, totally. So, but whatever. Like, yeah, but I can already see these comments.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
can
like,
I.
like the gay thing didn't work out. So yeah, so it's
Well, I mean,
okay.
you already wrote a song reply to that one, so people can just go listen
Yeah,
to that.
yeah. It's so much fun. Like I invite every one of you to do it. We do that on a regular basis. Like when we get all the hate comments, we just write leave your hate in the comments and then put the link to leave your hate in the comments. So we all have that on our phone, like as a copy paste thing. We just, oh, there's another hate comment. Come on, like so you can always like answer adequately to all the haters out there. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, that song is such a clapback to the whole hater culture, and I really, really, really enjoy it. I was just like, oh yes, this is so good. Um, and like, I mean, I'm amazed how you're one of those bands um, where you can kind of tell that for some people you're not goth or metal enough for the dark scene, and you're not poppy enough for mainstream. And yeah, as I said, people will always complain about something, and there's
Yeah.
always haters in any shape or form out there. But yeah, why not poke a little bit gentle fun at them? And if they can't see the self irony, well, I guess it just gives you more material for merch, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And the thing with the leave your hate in the comments video, I think there's so many jokes in there on such a deep level of dark humor.
Mm-hmm.
I think the real haters, most of them, and I'm saying a very bad thing now, but it seems to me that some of the people writing all these hate comments are very dumb. So, and so they might not even get the irony if they try to, but still, it's a lot of fun. And I'm very sorry for ranting about our haters right now because I really don't want to say negative things, but it's hard to imagine that they are actually smart.
I mean, there's always a light side and a dark side to
Which is
everything.
sorry, which if they're not smart, it's not their fault. So that's why I'm sorry for saying that. But yeah, so
I mean,
so
in the end, it's them missing out on fun and good things.
yeah, so.
So like, how do you keep yourself motivated through all of this? Like, what keeps you going when things are getting a bit hard? There's a lot of stress going on.
I don't know. That's real hard to say. I never asked myself that. I think it's just we have so many ideas of things that we like to do in the future. There's always so many interesting things, like so many music video concepts or songs that already have been written, which we like to release. Like that there's always things to look forward to. So I never really had a problem of not being motivated. I had serious thoughts here and there if I can keep on doing that sometimes, but these thoughts are like, I don't know, last for 5 minutes,
Yeah, kind of
and then
passing, and then they
yeah,
disappear.
then they actually over. So, but yeah, sometimes I totally know these thoughts, but I don't actively do something to get them out of my head. It automatically happens. And when one day it doesn't happen, so I feel like I need to quit doing what I'm doing, then maybe it's just time, and it's just time to do something else. And I would never promise people to that. Yeah, no, no, I never stop. I will never stop doing that because I don't know if one day I wake up and feel like I can't do that anymore for whatever reason, then it might be the best thing for my life to do something else.
I mean,
But
you, you
I'm not. I don't feel that that's happening within the next years and probably never. But you never know.
where was that question?
And
Following.
I have to run in like 5 minutes if that's fine for you.
Yes. Okay. I just have one last. Okay.
Song.
Two.
One last song.
Yes.
Ooh. Okay.
I have maybe like one or two last questions for you.
Yeah.
One is like probably fairly easy to answer, but one of them is, are you a brave person?
Wow. Now we would need to discuss what brave is. Can you give me an example? Because
Like,
I
are you good at
because
facing whatever scares you?
Um, yes, if there's a reason for it. But I have stopped I've stopped facing things that scare me just because I feel like I need to overcome this or that. So I'm the person that hates any kind of roller coasters and all these kind of things. And so I could go there like every day in Hamburg to face my fears and ride a roller coaster, but I just accepted that it's a thing that scares me to death to ride a roller coaster. Why should I face it? If I had a reason to do it, but I don't know what the reason should be, but maybe my son. Maybe I was like the only person who could ride a roller coaster with him, which I'm not. Other people can do that. But if I'd be the only person who could do that, then I had a reason to face that fear. So I think I'm brave if I have to, but I'm not being brave for no reason, just to prove a point to myself or something.
Okay, last question then. I know you'll be touring a lot this summer. Is there
Mhm.
like, are you gonna go like places you've never been before? I saw something about South America. Does that
Yes.
also mean that eventually you might make your way back up north, like to the US and stuff, or is it something you
Um,
can't
we
tell yet?
we wanted to come to the US in April this year, but it didn't work out. Not for visa issues. The
Ah,
problem this time was that all you know all the clubs, tour buses, and like staff, and they were all like so heavily booked that we the only chance for us to play there would be like all every 3 or 4 days. So we would go on tour for 4 weeks to play 7 or 8 shows. And
wow.
that
Yeah.
does
Okay.
that doesn't work. It's just losing money. Like every day we don't play. So we decided to give it another try in February next year. So we're working on that. Of course, nothing's carved in stone, but so far we are trying to just go to the US for 1 month next year.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have some new countries, and we will also announce some more shows in countries where we've never been.
Oh.
2 or 3 countries, actually. I'm not sure if that's working out. And we actually try to have one show in Copenhagen.
Ooh. Well.
So, but the thing is with Denmark, like, and it doesn't matter that we're playing with Iron Maiden, having a #1 album,
Mhm.
and doing the Eurovision preliminary. All the big promoters that are actually booking shows there are like, no, I don't see it too much of a risk. So they all of them, all of them said no.
Yeah, I mean,
Really,
it was the same I heard from Daniel from Aesthetic Perfection when I talked to him a few weeks ago, that
yeah,
getting
yeah,
shows in Denmark is terribly difficult. Even if he
yeah,
knows that there are people who want to see you, it's like the promoters like
yeah,
me.
really, all of them. And it might not be packed, and it might be just 100 or 200 people, but whatever. So with another band from Denmark, which are friends of mine, we are trying to self-organize, like in the old times, like like call them like, hey, can we play at your club? Self-organize a show, and I'm not 100% sure if it works out or
I
not,
mean,
but
I'll cross
it looks
finger
kind of
for
good.
it. And if it
Yeah.
happens,
So
I'll definitely be there. That's a promise.
yeah, I know.
But
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much for
Thank
doing
you.
this interview with me. And I'll be crossing fingers for you on Friday. People who can, go vote. Votes are important. And I'll be
Yeah.
watching the preliminaries online.
Cool. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Take care.
Bye 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 bye.
Bye.